For a deep dive into something pretty fascinating. We're going to be exploring the three poisons from Buddhist philosophy.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking at this idea from a text called The Three Poisons and Remedies of Buddhism.
And it's all about how these poisons, they kind of mess with us, right? Hold us back in life.
They really are at the root of suffering, according to Buddhism.
Yeah, suffering, those things that make life, well, kind of difficult sometimes. But here's the good news. There's a flip side.
Exactly. Buddhism also offers ways to deal with these poisons.
We're going to unpack that today.
Absolutely.
So first up, we've got attachment. And they actually use a rooster as a symbol for this one. Makes me think of like someone clinging to possessions, wanting more and more.
Right, like always chasing that next thing, thinking it'll bring happiness. But attachment, it goes way beyond just material stuff. It's about relationships, status, our ideas about how the world should be. We cling to these things so tightly and then, well...
Things change, right?
Exactly. And that's when the suffering kicks in, because we're so attached to things staying the same.
Which never really happens, does it?
Not really, no. It's like that old saying, the only constant is change.
Okay, so attachment, we're clinging to stuff. Then there's aversion, symbolized by a snake. This one seems kind of obvious. Hatred, anger, pushing away things we don't like.
Right, and it seems like the total opposite of attachment, doesn't it?
It does.
But here's the thing. They both come from that same place of clinging. Attachment, we're clinging to something we want. Aversion, we're clinging to the idea that things shouldn't be a certain way.
So we end up fighting reality.
Exactly. And that creates so much internal struggle.
We're just making it harder on ourselves.
Right. And this is where the third poison comes in. Ignorance, often shown as a pig.
Ignorance. So not knowing stuff.
Well, it's a little deeper than that. It's not about being unintelligent. It's about a lack of clear seeing. We don't see the true nature of ourselves, the world around us. It's kind of like walking around with blinders on.
And that leads to bad choices.
Exactly. And those bad choices usually stem from being caught up in, you guessed it, attachment and aversion.
So all these poisons, they're all connected.
Completely. It's like a messed up cycle. Each one feeds the others.
Okay, so we've got these poisons, they're connected, they're causing trouble. What can we do about it?
That's where the remedies come in. Buddhism offers a path out. For each poison, there's an antidote.
Okay, lay it on me. Let's start with ignorance. How do we combat that?
Wisdom, my friend. But not just knowing a bunch of facts. This is about deep understanding, seeing things clearly, without all the mental clutter. Things like mindfulness, meditation, those help.
It's like those moments where you just know what the right thing to do is, even if it's hard.
Exactly. You're tapping into that wisdom.
Makes sense. So wisdom for ignorance. What about aversion? How do we even start dealing with anger and hatred?
This one's tough. The antidote is metta, usually translated as loving kindness.
Loving kindness towards someone who's ticked you off, that's a tall order.
It is. It's not about condoning harmful actions, though. It's more about understanding. Remember, everyone, deep down, wants to be happy, just like you.
Even the people who make it hard to remember that.
Especially them. They're often the ones who need it most.
Okay, that makes sense. So not about liking everyone, but understanding we're all kind of in the same boat.
Exactly.
All right, so we've got wisdom for ignorance, loving kindness for aversion. What about attachment? How do we loosen its grip?
This is where Dina comes in, generosity.
Generosity, like giving stuff away.
That's part of it, but it's bigger than that. It's about giving your time, your energy, your compassion freely, sharing what you have without expecting anything in return.
So it shifts your focus outward.
Yeah, instead of being so focused on yourself, your own desires, you start to see the abundance that comes from giving.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how these poisons and antidotes, they're all intertwined.
They truly are. You can't really tackle one without addressing the others. Cultivating wisdom, loving kindness, generosity, that's the key. And, just noticing these poisons in yourself, that's huge.
That's got to be the first step, right?
Exactly. Just that awareness, that's a form of wisdom right there.
Wow. This has been eye-opening. Thanks so much for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. It's fascinating stuff.
For everyone listening, we hope this gets you thinking. How can we use these ancient ideas in our own lives? It's a journey, right?
It really is.
Until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep learning, keep growing.